My name is Robert Chavez, and we're going to talk today about the guitar. Guitar is a stringed instrument. It originated from many different instruments. The first known instrument was the Greek kithara. Next most prominent instrument after that would have been the lute, much more similar to the way the guitar is built. Now, the way a guitar works is you have strings, right? And you have two tension points. You have your bridge, just like on a violin or a bass or any other string guitar. You have a bridge. There's a tension point there. And then you have a nut, where the other tension point is. Now all the strings are wound around these tuning keys so they stay there. Now, the idea of frets help you determine the pitch. It's really easy to make perfect pitches with fretted instruments. Now on a violin, you can get all them pitches that are right in between the perfect pitches. You can get the quarter tones and everything like that, and you could slide into it and you make it sound real nice. But if I slide on a guitar, you're just hearing all the half steps. There's no in-betweens. And the only other way a guitar player can achieve that is by bending your string. Okay? The guitar can be very versatile to do most any style of music. Of course, the big ones, rock, blues, jazz, and country, most prominent guitar styles today. And you can make the guitar sound different with many different options. You can get different pickups, which is like a microphone for your strings, or you can screw around with your amp to get different sounds out of it. And the way you do that is you EQ it, which means you're adjusting the actual frequencies, or you can add effects to it, like a reverb, which is a basic decay of sound, like that. So there's reverb, and there's no reverb, no decay. You can do a basic delay, kind of an echoing effect. And there's many other options. You can get phaser, chorus, which just make the sound a little bit more interesting, a little different, depending on what style you're playing. Another option with the guitar is you can use a slide. This is a glass slide. Basically, you just substitute the fret with glass slide. Gives you a kind of vibrato effect. Gives you a little bit more options, and depending on what tuning you're in, you can really do a lot with that. The tuning of the guitar is really going to ultimately affect the range of the guitar. So for example, I can take this low E string and I can tune it down a whole step. I just gained a whole step in my range. So a standard tuning, starting from the low string, would be E, A, D, G, B, and another E. Now in intervals, that would be perfect fourth, perfect fourth, perfect fourth, major third, perfect fourth. So most all of them are perfect fourth, but they're not. Now why would that be? Well, let's see. Let's take a basic chord pattern like C major, for example. Real nice. Now if I had a perfect fourth here, some of these other chord patterns wouldn't really work as easily. I would have to change them and come up with odd fingerings, like an A minor chord. I would have to move it, and a major chord would now look like this, which doesn't work really for a guitar player. And if you have had experience with chords on a guitar, then you would understand. Now, there's different types of guitars. Here we have an electric guitar with solid body with pickups. Over here, we have a semi-hollow body, which you can see there's holes here. I can put my finger into the guitar. And the reason I call it semi-hollow is because it's not fully hollow like a regular acoustic guitar. What there's actually a piece of wood right here in the center, and the extra, extra space, the hollowness of the guitar allows for more resonance, more sound. And as you can see, this isn't plugged in, but I can hit a chord and it still actually provides some volume. So playing the guitar, you basically have, your two hands, they each have a job. Your left hand takes care of all of the chords, scales, pretty much anything that has to do with pitch. Now your right hand takes care of everything that has to do with rhythm. And the guitar is a percussive instrument, just like the piano strikes the string with a hammer. You have to pluck the string of the guitar, much like a harpsichord, very similar. Now you can use a pick, or you can just use your fingers. Depending on what you use, it's going to give you a different sound. So the idea of it is you need both hands to coordinate to do different things at the same time to make the music work, which is very weird. Piano players have, a bass line in their left hand and then a melody in their right hand. Well, a guitar player has the bass line and the melody pitch-wise going on in their left hand. And then their right hand has to pick those notes and make them happen. And depending on the piece, you may have strange picking patterns, and oftentimes this hand is going to give you the most trouble of anything. So the range of the guitar, you have anywhere from, in a standard tuning that is, E2 all the way to at least A5, which on some guitars you can get all the way up to E6. It has to be a 24 fret guitar. As you can see, this one here does not have 24 frets. You can see this is double dotted, everything else is single dotted. The double dot represents the octave, the 12th fret, so 12 plus 12 is 24 to get to another octave. This doesn't have it. Articulation is very limited on the guitar. You can do different things like a sliding effect. We've all heard that kind of thing before. And also a hammer-on pull-off effect. So if I hit the D string open and I hammer on an E, it gives me a different note rather than just, okay? And same thing with a pull-off. It's exactly what it says it is. I'm just pulling off the string and letting it ring. And I can do it fretted too. Okay? You can also do harmonics. And there's natural harmonics amongst the open strings. And depending on where you touch the string, you don't fret the string. Depending on where you just barely touch the string, is going to give you a different pitch, because it is going off of the overtone series. Just as the frets changing the length of it, you are now adjusting the vibrations that are coming off the string. As a solo instrument, it's very, very, very versatile. However, it is not easy to be a solo guitarist, as you have to hold a bass line and a melody at the same time. It's not very easy, especially when you get into jazz guitar. You have chord melodies and it gets really complicated. In an ensemble environment, it's a lot easier. You can just get away with knowing basic chords and scale patterns and be able to accompany whoever, be able to join a group, depending on if that group is guitar based or not. If it's guitar based, then you're going to want to, take the lead. You're going to want to do more than just chords. You're going to want to do some melody. You're going to want to do some lead. But depending on the situation, you may be a trumpet player or a flute player looking for a guitar player to just play some chords behind you. And depending on how much experience that guitar player has, they can do that for you. If you're looking for a jazz guitar player to come and solo in your band, then it's going to be a lot harder to find somebody who's capable of doing that. So basically, here we are. We can take chord patterns. We can move them up and down the neck, the same exact chord patterns. Okay, makes it really easy for guitar players to make chords and make scales. Okay, major scale. There's an A major scale. Now I'm going to play for you a C major scale. And the only thing I did differently was move my hand. So, yes, us guitar players do have it really easy when it comes to theoretical concepts. However, it still is not the easiest instrument to just throw anything at. But you can do scale runs very quickly. You can do chord changes very quickly. So that's that. The guitar is probably the most versatile and prominent instrument in the world right now, aside from piano. I would just keep in mind that not all chord voicings are appropriate for the guitar. You might want to be careful just observing the interval structure. You can't always do a root third fifth. For example, here's a C major. I have a root third fifth. Here's an A minor. And I have root fifth, root third, fifth. So I can't just throw in a triad and it'll work. You have to be careful with the voicings of it. If you're looking more in depth into chord voicings, you might just want to go online and look at the basic chord patterns: a G chord, a C chord, E chords, A chords, and D chords are what bar chords are formed off. Thank you for listening. I wish I can keep going all day, but that's all I can do for you right now. Thank you.